Hello everyone, welcome back to Bitcoin New York. Today is 2nd of June, Saturday, New York time, a little bit past 8 p.m. Today's daily charts and 3-day charts has been completed, so I'd like to share to you guys about what I think about these charts. So today's title is Bitcoin Alert, big sell-off incoming. So that is the title today. There has been a lot of media coverage on Bitcoins, and there is a lot of pessimistic views on cryptocurrencies right now. So I think that is one of the things that I would like to go through today. Today we're going through Bitcoins, Ethereum, Cardanos, Ripples, and Litecoins. And I would like to get into the total market cap at the end. So let's get into this. Today's Fear and Greed has been closed. Today is 17. And yesterday was selling off a lot, so today is a little bit on the lower side, so I think it's a very good buying market. A lot of people I hear are selling off because of the current situation of the market right now. They're mostly being scared about the market. But tomorrow the weekly chart's closing, so until that happens, I think you should be holding off on any orders right now, just because that's we don't know how that's going to play out yet. So let's get into Bitcoins first of all. Bitcoins in US dollars, starting on a lower part here. For 3 days, it's been on lower, going through this triangular pattern on the daily charts, looking like this. So this triangle, I lined this up again before. As I've said on Twitter, so the trend line is kind of like this, going through the trade highs here. So I think maybe around next week around here, there might be some changes here, as that is the point where a trend line and the triangular patterns meeting. And so I think the bottom part here is playing a pretty good role over here. So after that, it's probably go to this part over here. We're probably touching that line there. Looking at it on the smaller charts, as I've said on Twitter today, this is very important over here. So like this, I think it's pretty right. Yes. So I think it's just going to touch that part a little bit one time. And this part is pretty strong on the lower part of the triangular pattern. Let me line up the Fibonacci here, and a little bit like this. And let me just line this up really quick. So the bottom here is 33,516. So I think those numbers, but I think it will hit those numbers again in the near future. And probably making a limit order here would be a good idea. Looking at it on a little bit bigger charts, on the daily charts here. Let me line this back up again. So, yeah, there is a lot of chance for a limit order, I think. Yeah, like 34,814. Those two green lines are places to be making an order for, I would say. And on the 3-day charts, for now, it is strong. Looking a little bit different from the other ones. So from the last lows, I would say it would look like this. And yeah, just line it up on the bottom over here. Yeah, I think these parts are to take into consideration here. $34,814. Oops, sorry, that was a 2-day chart, sorry. So this is the 3-day charts here. So even if the market really wants to go down, it's just not letting it down because of this pattern right now. Yeah, if you hold it, it's not much of a problem for those of you concerned. As long as this goes through the trend lines, I think people might be getting off on crazy Bitcoin's over kind of crap again. And over here is something I want you guys to look at. So even after that kind of a sell-off, it just comes back in about a month. So if you like buy here, so that would be the amount of profit that you make. And even if you think that it might sell off a little more, there are instances of it not. So even if this happens, that's not necessarily Bitcoin's over necessarily. So that's just one of the spikes that it occasionally makes sometimes. And just goes make 2 spikes here, have a little bit of resistance at the top, and then that is the bear market up to there. Up to those points that say short out. So from the initial spike to that area is the bear market. This is at 2017. That was after the Bitcoin bubble. So let me line this up here to see how much it is. That was 33% of a spike drop. And over here, it would be 37% of a spike drop. So those are the initial numbers that even in a bullish market, the spikes happen even in the bullish market. So around 30 to 40% minus, those kind of adjustments usually happen in the market. So even this over here isn't really a bear market. And this over here, it hasn't really dug down for a while. It's just a really sharp spike. So that's one of the indicators that you could say, which it will be, you can dictate that it is not a bearish market. So those are just like I would say continuous spikes, because the overall prices are rising in the mid to long term, or I'd say midterm, I would say actually. And so that's about a 2,000% increase from that part. So that was in 2013, I think. So if you think about that, even the very long-term volatility is kind of closing in. This here is 1,500% increase from 2020. So, that's about 15 times the initial amount of that market low. So that's something to take into consideration about this. So those are things to take into consideration when you think about the price changes that happen daily to weekly. So, but I think there's still instance of this selling a little bit more. So this is what we're in is just a initial sell-off spike in the bullish market. So this EMA, if it goes on below the EMA and it just doesn't go higher than the EMA, so that might be an indicator of kind of selling off maybe midterm. So around this time is usually the about a time where the media goes off about Bitcoin being over, and a lot of people sadly sell off Bitcoin at this time and lose out on profits after this like overall movement of the charts going up and with initial spikes. So I think those are things to take into consideration when you would be investing in Bitcoin. So just making limit orders on the spikes and waiting for profits long to midterm, I think is my initial investment style. So even on the 3-day charts, you can kind of see that triangular pattern take shape. 4 hours, it's like this. So it's just not it's just trying to go down, but not quite kind of getting there. A lot of people actually buy in this market as well, from what I hear. But that's the overall Bitcoin. And Ethereum's in Tether US dollars. So it's pretty much kind of the same as Bitcoin. It's just moving in this triangular pattern for now. Kind of closing in on volatility at the end there. But a little bit kind of going through the triangular pattern there. Kind of going on bottom of the EMA line. So at the 3-day charts, this part over here, it's making higher candlesticks, so that's pretty good. Even the weekly charts, it's looking the same. Pretty good. a little bit different, but apart from Bitcoin, it's a little bit different, but still, nonetheless, daily charts. So looking at it like this, forming a pretty good triangular shape here. Next week, 9th, I think, maybe around that time, it might go on top of the EMA line and go through the top of the triangle again. And I think that would be pretty good for ethers. When it kind of staggers around the EMA line, that's usually when it makes a jump and maybe like a 10% high, I think, or maybe 60%, I think. I think probably 10 to 60% is the number here. So that is the overall movements of Ethereums at the 3D charts. A little bit more spread there. So hopefully it will stagnate around the EMA line and then make a quick jump after staggering there. So that's pretty much for Ethereums. And sorry about that. That's what I want to do. So yeah, that is the overall ongoing sort of Ethereum. So yeah, let me just dive into this real quick. 2,628 or 2,874, I think. 97, sorry. So yeah, those two lines at the top are probably the range that it won't be staggering in. There might be some sells offs for a little bit. 2,541. So probably plus minus 2%, 3% of volatility. 2,301, that might go into that. It just might. As the candle kind of stuck out a little bit over there, that I think it might be happening again. So it's not necessarily a very velocity heavy market, but it is freaking okay at this moment. And Ethereums and Bitcoins are a little bit different over here. Yeah, it's looking pretty healthy, but I think as I said before, at the top over here are pretty good. There might be instances of kind of digging down into the EMA line and getting closer to it, but I think it will be okay for now. Even if it go down, it'll probably be here. 68696. All the cryptos. I'm going to do a special issue on cryptos, but Ethers are pretty good. They don't really sell off for the most part. Even if adjustments happen, after that, it usually gets back on top of things pretty quickly. So I think Ethereums are a pretty good investment to get into if you're kind of starting out and looking for all around pretty good currencies that you don't have to hug your monitor to check the charts, you know. So I think for those reasons, I think it's a pretty good currency. But until the next weekly charts finishes, I don't think I can say much for this right now. The MACDs, I think the MACDs are gonna dig into things a little bit more. And the RSIs here. Let me get this trend line set up again. Yeah. And around here there's kind of a little bit of space on the RSI, so I think around here, yeah, there are some resistance here, so it might fluctuate around here and just take a little bit more time and touch the trend line. And maybe go up again after that. Yeah, a little bit more stagnation here. I wouldn't be really surprised if any long-term adjustments happen over here. Yeah, I think around here, I think it's just gonna go sideways and fluctuate around here. And yeah, that is kind of what's going on over here. So that's all for Ethereum and Cardanos and US dollars over here. The lows are pretty solid over here, and it's making a good steady rising pattern over here. I think it will take a little bit more time until this gets in, gets a lot more upwards percentage of this. So I think it's gonna take a little bit more time on this sequential charts here. And yeah, let's check out over here for a moment. $1.68 or $1.87 or $2 and cent. So I think those are the places that maybe would be going into, but looking very healthy overall actually. The daily chart's getting into the EMA line, so I think it's as I said in Ethereum, it's just a matter of time until it kind of hugs that for too long. It goes up, like builds a little spike after that, and hopefully it will get into a rising pattern, or it will make a chance to make a rising pattern in the future. If you have any Cardanos in the near future, I would recommend $1.50, making a limit order on there, or 50, 55 would be pretty solid. Yeah, $1.55 would be pretty solid, I would say. And just pick up on some Cardanos along the way and wait for that big spike in the payoff. Yeah, I think this is a trend line here. Oops, that was a triangle actually. I could say it like this. Yeah, that works. That actually works. Yeah, probably moving in this channel over here. And if it goes down to $1.43, that would be a pretty good place to buy. Get it at lower, and $1.23. I think that like the candles are hitting the lower part, so I think that might be one place to get into if you want. Yeah, if you have it, just hold on to it, I would say. Yeah, looking pretty good overall, Cardanos. And Cardanos in Bitcoins. So not pretty bad, not bad. As long as it does, the EMA line comes in closer for a while. I don't think that would happen for a while, but until that happens, I don't think it's gonna go higher than this or make any new movements in this case. But this is the 3D chart, so looking at on a smaller charts, on the daily charts over here, it's a little bit of stagnation there. I think it's definitely a chance to buy or get into Cardanos right now, but maybe make orders on 4,403. And yeah, I think those are the pretty good places because the email line is closing up. So yeah. I think there are some spaces in that price point to get into this place, or maybe not just bother with Cardano for now, and put it on your wish list for now, and consider it in the near future when the next spike drop comes down. And yeah, that's pretty much for Cardanos, I think. We're looking at the Fibonacci's here. There is not much to say about things here. Probably in the future, in the next few years, probably 9,467. I think that would be the next autumn highs, as it was before over there. There's some dogs that's pretty loud outside. Yeah, this is the one that I'm talking about over here. Yeah, on the 3-day charts, it looks like this. And so over here is what I want to show you guys about. This is the weekly charts, and over here, the RSIs, over here, after it's kind of going on top of things over there, and if it makes like next highs, I think that would be places to get into Cardanos and Bitcoins. Like if you're really kind of in a hurry to get him, that would be one of the places to get through on this. And I don't know if it goes through like 7,000 or 9,000, but I think it would probably hit those two numbers and then sell off for a little bit and then go up again after making adjustments. So I think that is the Cardano situation in the near future. And getting into ripples and US dollars, yeah, it's kind of trying to sell off, but not really quite getting there. And it's even on the 50s EMA line, so I think you should maybe hold off on buys, but I don't know if it might go into here, maybe 80, like down for a little bit more. So I think that might be a good place to make an order in. The daily charts over here. Yeah, looking at it on the daily charts, I think there is some possibilities of hitting that number again. And maybe 65 cents, just maybe. But I wouldn't count on it, honestly. Like, this kind of triangular pattern is happening all over the cryptocurrency right now. So I don't think it's a place to maybe bet your whole account on. Even though the 3-day charts over here, yeah, the trend line is kind of unstable, but it's about over here. 2020 December, I don't know what happened over there, but so over here and probably here, yeah, it's kind of at the bottom of the trend line right now, so I'll probably go up again. Yeah, if you have any ripples in US dollars or considering getting into it, I think it's a good chance to get into it. So I think this is actually a kind of a pretty good chart right now. I've been looking out on the weekly charts. It's kind of looking pretty good with that steep trend line over there. It's actually pretty good. It's not as bad as I initially had an impression on. But yeah, this is in dollars, by the way. So after this goes up, it might make like a big candlestick, like as it is on the other rising patterns. In the daily chart, it's kind of on bottom of the trend line, so I think it's might take a little bit time because usually kind of fluctuates towards the EMA line before it leaps up and makes that huge gap between the three EMA lines, you know. But I think around here is pretty good. Like looking at all the RSIs, 65 cents. But that's kind of exaggerating things a little bit. So maybe a little higher than that. And ripples in bitcoins. Yeah, so it's kind of trying to sell off, kind of. But yeah, I think it's a matter of time until this all that sideways motion just explodes and buys out all the last spikes there. Even the RSI is kind of trying to go up over here. It's kind of trying to sell off actually at the end there. But the trend line is kind of saying it all over here. So even if it's trying to sell off over here, I think it's a matter of time until it, makes that next spike up there. So maybe the next 3 days going in on that trend line there and touch the bottom over there. Yeah, the daily chart's looking actually a little bit better. So let's move over here. Yeah, it's trying to get up there. So yeah, I think as long as it goes up, that would be pretty good. Even those of you considering ripples in bitcoins, I think the recommended price for me is 2,224. Yeah, those would be probably the numbers I would be going for if I was to get into ripples in bitcoins. So yeah, I think it's actually looking pretty well over here. I don't know about the MACDs, but let's check this out here. It's making a dead cross over here. And let me get this out pretty good. And over here, I think it's going to make another direction change in the near future. And the daily charts, like today right now, is on pretty in the middle over there at 0. Yeah, almost at 0. And yeah, so as I said before, this part, yeah, I think I said this yesterday about this, but I think it's going to go bottom this white line over there. So probably making a buy limit order on that number around 2,000 is pretty good. And Litecoins in dollars. And Litecoin in dollars is a little bit different from the other ones. The 3-day chart's closed, so the bottoms are looking pretty good over here. So as the other currencies kind of make a sideways pattern over here. The weekly pattern's kind of looking pretty much the similar or pretty much the same. So I don't think it's gonna, hence the candlesticks that's sticking into the EMA line, I don't think it's gonna sell off in the near future for now, but I think it's gonna stay like this or go up either way. It'll be pretty good, or pretty good to make a buying order here. $554, sorry. The 3-day charts. Let me get back to the daily charts actually. I think this is kind of the triangular pattern I was seeing before. Yeah, it is. So I think it's just moving in on this range over here. So I don't think it's necessarily gonna sell off after this, but probably 153, making a limit order on those would be pretty good if those of you that are getting into it, or maybe just buy into that and wait for $210 to hit. I think that is the fastest way to make profits over here. I don't really know much about the long-term value of Litecoins, but this is like the short-term analysis, I would say. So I think maybe until next week or the next week after that, I think until that, these numbers aren't going anywhere for a little while, but not necessarily trying to sell off over here, so that's good. Let's get the 50 EMA line here. Actually, no. Said this over here. So it's kind of like fluctuating through the lines and make like a little jump over there. It's kind of hopping on that line over right now. So I think it's gonna follow that pattern again as long as I can see. It's just kind of repeating itself. So I think it's a very good place to making buy orders right now. And in Bitcoins, it's the same actually. Yeah, there are a pretty good resistance even in the 3-day charts. So I think the chances of selling off are very, very little. And yeah, the daily charts kind of have a resistance there. Just kind of staying on the EMA line there. It's the EMA lines are closing in, so if it gets on top of that, that would be pretty good. Yeah, the 3D charts are kind of in the middle there. So I would say it's a matter of what price you would buy this in. I think it will be... sorry about that. I think you can see a little better like this. 4,553 would be the place, I would say, or 4,870 for those of you that are a little more careful. I mean, if it goes down, you can get into it, but I wouldn't necessarily count on that, honestly. So, it's a matter of preference, I would say. Like, if you're going aggressive, go into that, the market lows of low orders and fulfill them and sell off, but if you're a little bit more careful, get into that more prices with certainties, and yeah, there's a lot of a fluctuation there. So I think that would be like kind of the same as the other cryptocurrencies actually, but that's one thing to take into consideration when you're looking at these charts, is these charts are going to be looking kind of the same, but with like little bits and pieces of differences, So yeah, the MACDs are, so it's just like going down for the last 3 years. So that's a pretty damn long time. So I think it's made a crossover there. So it's just a matter of time until it goes up again. So long term, like maybe a year or two, I think Litecoins are pretty good. So I think actually a pretty good way to make Bitcoins. This charts is, it's pretty much at the bottom of here. So it's kind of trying to get through that EMA line over there. So if it is the scenario of recovering to the original prices, that would be 230% about. If you have like maybe like a 0.005 Bitcoin, you could make that into like 0.01 Bitcoin. And that much of a Bitcoin, you can get a lot of like other cryptos and versatile your portfolio. Maybe you could get into it right now and wait for the autumn highs, and maybe that might be a pretty good scenario to play out if you're looking into a maybe kind of a not necessarily a safe way to make it, but a pretty challenging way to make some Bitcoins. The last time, yeah, it's still on RSI is pretty low over here. It's still at 50. The top is 87. A lot of place to grow over here. And the MACDs are like just getting into that triangular pattern, as I said before, and kind of getting to the zero over here. So yeah, that's all for Litecoins. If you want it, get into it quickly. This is the crypto total market cap over here. And as you can see over here, it's just the same as before. Not much changes happening in the last few weeks. The daily charts over here, the MACDs, yeah, it's kind of trying to go up there. The 2-day charts, yeah, pretty much at zero over here. And even the RSIs are on the bottom of the trend line, I think. I think it's at the bottom of the trend line. Actually, no. Yeah, it's on top of that, actually. So I think more capital is going to come into the market for now. Yeah, so it's same as Bitcoin over here. It's just not going through that trend line and probably just following that trend right now. And probably even if it tries to go down, I think it's gonna get back on top of things very, very quickly. Because I don't think it's gonna be able to go through that line or a considerable amount in that matter. So maybe in August. So August is the time that it will hit the trend line if it were to go sideways. So I think that is the next place to be for the overall crypto total market cap to be making new highs, maybe. Because, fluctuation just makes the next sell-off or buyouts more bigger. So even at the time of corona epidemic, it just went down a whole bunch and it recovered in a month and kept going after that. So actually, I think it was like a month and a half, actually. But, nonetheless, it just movements or fluctuations just makes more velocity for the next movement. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good time for Bitcoin right now, guys. Yeah, sorry, that was pretty long. I'm going to get into more of these. So comment any cryptocurrencies you want me to review. And follow me on Twitter for updates. I'm at Tatsugo channel. So follow, like, and subscribe for more. Thank you, guys.